Right now, we're having a conversation about what it's like to get COVID-19. We heard from Melissa a moment ago. She and her husband in their 40s, their 16-year-old son with them in a one-bedroom flat, and they're pretty sure, had it. Different symptoms between all of them. Julie, how are you?
I'm at home recovering right now.
How's it been? How did it come on?
It did start with a cough that wouldn't go away. And then I developed high fevers that I couldn't... Well, I'd take paracetamol to control them. And then I just couldn't. It was going up to like 98.5 and stuff like that. And so I decided, I better call... Sorry, I'm saying 98. I'm talking about American ones. It was like 39.4 is what my temperature got up to.
Right.
So I called 111 and I got through and they just said, well, I can't say that you have it or not, so maybe just stay at home. I went to a walk-in and they said that it could be post-nasal drip. And so I was given a steroid nose spray. At that time, I couldn't smell or taste. And I just really felt quite lousy. So eventually, when my breathing got a bit laboured, because I walked upstairs and I realised I shouldn't be out of breath just by walking up 15 stairs, I called 111 again and they said, go to A&E. And it all happened from there.
What happened?
I arrived with my sister. They gave us face masks initially. Then they came out in full PPE and took a swab from me. Went back in, came back a few minutes later, said to me, okay, we need to take you in. Don't touch anything, just follow me. And they put me in a cubicle. They took some blood. They did a chest x-ray. I was then admitted. And I was on a ward with 3 other people who didn't have COVID, but we were kept in this room. It was horrible. We had a shared commode. And then eventually I started realising that my breathing wasn't very good, and they gave me just oxygen through my nose. Then they gave me a nebulizer. Then they gave me concentrated oxygen because my sats were so low. I think they went down to something like 82.
And Julie, all of this happened in just the space of a few hours. I wonder what you were feeling while all this was going on.
I was just thinking, is it coronavirus? Have I got coronavirus? Because we were I'm a teacher, and we were doing a project at school, and our project is what's it like in China? And you're supposed to put vocabulary words around, and I joked with my sister saying, should I put coronavirus up there? And there it goes. I ended up having it. So my breathing got really bad, and the doctor came to see me and said, we're going to have to breathe for you. We're going to put you on a ventilator for about 5 to 10 days. And that was like, oh, okay. And so I remember they took me down into resus. I just remember them putting like a bag over me. And then I woke up 2 weeks later.
You were out for 2 weeks?
Yeah, 14 days on the ventilator.
Wow.
Yeah. And then back. So I was at Lewisham to start with for about 3 or 4 days. And while I was under, they transferred me to Guy's. And I was there for about 10 days. And then when I came back round, they brought me back to Lewisham. And then I stayed in Lewisham for about a week, and then I was discharged home, and that was on the 10th of April.
You still sound breathless to me, Julie.
I still am, and I'm weak. I mean, when I got out, I couldn't walk, I couldn't write, I could barely speak because of the tube in the throat and the feeding tube. My nose bleeds every morning. It's a real struggle, and I found it really hard because I've been looking for post-COVID support groups and stuff, and there doesn't seem to be anything out there because it's not happened before. So all I'm seeing is how to prevent it. I'm thinking, well, I tried my best to prevent it. I got it. I've survived the ventilator. I've come home. But all the services I need, like the physio, the speech therapy and the respiratory clinic, are all closed to outpatients because of what's going on. So it's just kind of using the internet to try and find ways of breathing. In fact, I bought a harmonica because that's supposed to be good to help your lung capacity.
A harmonica? Have you played a harmonica before?
I mean, I did, just as a joke, but because it uses breathing in and out, it's supposed to be quite good. And also there's a skill I can learn.
Well, we might come back to the harmonica, Julie. I'm thinking about your sister and maybe any other members of your family. Were they able to come and visit you even when you were unconscious?
No. At the time, and I think it's still the same now, no one was allowed any visitors at any stage. So it was quite lonely.
And what about when you came round? Was anyone allowed to come and see you?
No.
So
no visitors at any point.
What sort of contact then have you had with your family?
I mean, I'm doing Zoom calls and FaceTime and using the phone, talking on the phone, but no kind of physical contact. I mean, my sister and my brother-in-law do my shopping, so I kind of see them from the distance. But that's it.
I mean, having gone through this pulverizing physical ordeal, to not be able to have a hug.
I know. It's quite horrible. It's not nice at all. It's not what I'm used to. It's not what anyone's used to.
What have you learned about yourself?
So I'm quite resilient, I suppose. I looked at the kind of statistics of being on a ventilator, and I think if I'd have seen those beforehand, I may have said no, but obviously that wouldn't have been good either. But
why would you have said no?
Because it's quite scary. Even when they said to me, we're going to breathe for you and kind of knock you out for 5 to 10 days, it's like, you're kind of going to end my life for a while, and I'm not going to know what's going on for this period of time. It's a space that's missing. And I don't know if you know, but once you've been on a ventilator, once you've been out for a while, your mind tries to fill the gaps, and you have very kind of disturbing visions and like nightmares, because your brain is trying to make up for what it doesn't know. And so I'm still kind of dealing with that as well.
Do you still remember them vividly?
Yeah, and I believe it was true. I thought that the hospital was being taken over by young rebels and all my belongings had been stolen. I even told the doctor, they've stolen my phone, and they went and told my sister that my phone has been stolen, but it hadn't. So there's all this stuff, and it's quite hard now for me to kind of tease out what's real and what wasn't.
How does the future look to you?
Well, for me, in terms of work, like I said, I'm a teacher. No one's at school really, apart from those teachers who are doing the roads for the key workers' children. My school have said, they don't really expect anything from me till September, which gives me, I would say, a good amount of time to try and recover. But I don't know how long the recovery is, because on my discharge note, it says COVID, pneumonia and respiratory failure. So I'm kind of looking at how you recover from pneumonia to kind of give myself a heads up on how long it's going to take, and that could be 6 months.
It's none of that's an inviting prospect, is it? But
not at all.
You've got no other choice.
No.
Well, hopefully, in the course of the next few weeks and months, Julie, the support services you need will begin to grind into gear, and it'll be a less lonely experience for you.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
I'm curious whether your harmonica is nearby. Obviously.
It's somewhere. It just came. Yes, it's here. I've not even opened. Well, it's open, but let's take it out.
Have you got
That's all I can do.
Really? You just don't have the breath to do more?
No. Well, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't blow
That's all
out
right.
on it, but I haven't gone to YouTube.
Play some more. I've got a small fire and some beans in the studio, so the harmonica would be ideal.
Well, apparently I've got 25 lessons free with this, so I can go online and start them, as long as I enter the code to 30 days of free lessons.
All right, you've got time.
Who knows, I might call back and give you another tune.
Well, don't threaten me. But please, give me another one now.
Another tune now?
I'd love one.
Okay. That's just improvisation.
Yeah, I would take all the lessons, Julie. Thanks so much. What a time that Julie's been through, and hard times still to come. When I talk about getting the virus and recovering, I suppose that's what Julie is doing, but goodness me, still such a hard road ahead.